What's up guys, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and today I want to review the Halo 4 Series 1 online exclusive 5-pack orange Spartan Soldier. It's kind of like a macaroni and cheese colored orange. Sometimes they look a little yellow in the game, sometimes they're orange, but this isn't yellow, this is orange. So whatever you want to call that color, that's what it is. He stands 5.5 inches tall, so standard size for the McFarlane Spartans. He is the exact same figure as the blue Spartan Soldier that we got in the continuing wave, whatever you want to call that, that second batch of Halo 4 Series 1 figures. So same exact figure, just painted orange. Very nice overall. I do like this figure. I do have a couple gripes, of course. Since this is a review, I have to cover the good and bad. But overall, I do like the figure. I'm just going to say right now, it's definitely a nice figure. The only problem is if you've already bought the single packed figures, you're going to end up with a whole bunch of doubles because the other 4 figures in the 5-pack are Master Chief, Cortana, the Crawler, and the Watcher. So unless you want to army build and have an extra of Cortana and Chief, you're going to have a bunch of extra figures. Anyway, let's talk about the figure. Let's do paint application first. Now, as we've seen from McFarlane before, they almost always have a really nice dry brush of the silver metallic over the armor color. Now, that's normally a good thing, and it's not a bad thing here, but it could have been better, only because the lighter colors tend to look kind of muddy after they do the wash. So it definitely could look, or not wash, but dry brush. It could look a little better, but it still looks good. The armor looks worn, and it's not ugly. It's not as nice as the darker colors, just because adding a silver on top of a lighter color doesn't look as good. Nothing you can really do about that. It's a little sloppy in some places, but it's definitely not bad. The top of the helmet is kind of rough, though. He has the gold or legendary visor, and the rest of him is solid orange. There's no secondary color. Then of course he's got the black undersuit. Now just like the blue guy, the paint app is good, not counting the dry brushing that I was mentioning. As you can see, he's got great amount of detail in the finger armor, for example. Just everywhere. It's really solid work. Can't really complain too much about it. Really nice paint work. Same thing goes for his accessory, which is the battle rifle. It's got the stripe on it and the nice silver dry brush, or silver metallic to contrast the black. And as you can see, he's got the little logo on the stock there. So it's very nice. It's got the weapon hole, or peg hole there, and the peg is in his back. So the gun can go on his back. And of course the peg comes out of his back, but I'm just leaving it there so I don't lose it. Actually, it would probably go like that, I think. Either way, however you want to put it, he's got the weapons peg for his battle rifle. As far as the armor goes, it's the soldier helmet. I have no idea what the names of the other pieces are because there's just so many of them. It's hard to remember. But he's got the, this is a whole new batch of leg armor just for the soldier figure, the blue one and this one. It's not the same as the warrior one that we already got, so it's really nice. He does have these pouches that are removable. Now, I'm nearly a level 70 in the game, and I haven't seen pouches on any of the armor yet, so I'm not sure what that's about. We may end up getting that later, or McFarlane maybe just made it anyway, I don't know. But it is there, and it does come off, and you can technically fit it into the other Spartans, like the Red Warrior, for example. It's a tight fit because this peg hole is a little bit bigger than the standard weapons peg hole. So let me take this out and show you. It'll fit in there, but it's kind of loose. It fits in tighter once you get in a little bit more. So it's okay. I mean, you can fit a weapons peg in there, but it's kind of loose. And like I said, this is going to be kind of tight in the standard weapons peg hole. But nonetheless, it is removable and interchangeable. And you can take that off on either side. So if you don't like those, take them off and you're good to go. As far as articulation goes, standard for the McFarlane figures. Crazy amount of head articulation. Better than any of the Halo figures thus far prior to Halo 4. So full range of motion there. He's got the ratcheted ball disc joint for the shoulder. Ratchet works nicely. Rotation works nicely. Double jointed ball disc for the elbow. It rotates at the bicep and in the forearm. So it ratchets there and then rotates both ways. So plenty of motion there. Same joint for the wrist, just smaller. It's ratcheted, and then it swivels at the wrist by the hand and at the forearm. So you can really get the hand in any pose you want. It is a little tight, but I haven't had any trouble yet. And I'd rather a tight joint, as long as it's not stuck, than a loose joint. Torso is the same as the head, kind of. It's a little more limited just due to the sculpt, but it's got the double ball joint in there, so plenty range of motion, no problems there. Now the hips are old school ball joints, so they're very limited. There's almost no play side to side or front to back unless you rotate the leg forward or out like that. Then you can rotate the knee if you want to get the leg out, which works okay. Obviously it doesn't look quite right, but it's effective. Now, there is a trick you can do to get around that, and that's just to trim some of the hip out. The legs pop out fairly easily. It's just a ball joint, so just pull that out. Heat it if you want to with some hot water. Don't burn yourself, and don't use boiling water, but some hot water, something to soften up the plastic, and then pop the leg out. You can trim that up, and you'll have a little bit better range of motion. If you want to, that's completely up to you. But it is, from the factory, fairly limited. The knee joint is like the elbows and the wrist, except for the fact that there's no rotation at the top of the boot or in the shin. It only rotates at the thigh, the top of the knee, and then it ratchets. Which is still, I mean, it's still plenty of range of motion, so that's good with me. And then the ankle is exactly the same as the wrist or the elbows. It rotates at the shin, at the foot, and then it has the ratchet. Now the toe joint is just an old school ball joint pretty much, so it's fairly limited, but it's still there. I'm still going to complain about this. The feet on the Spartan 4s are too long. This should be back a little bit. In comparison, here is the Master Chief figure. Now his feet look stumpy, but that's just because of the really thick armor. If you look at the length, it's actually just about the way it should be, and compared to the Spartan 4, Master Chief's feet are significantly shorter. So the Spartan 4's feet are just a little bit too big. But it's okay, it gives him a better base to stand on. So I'm not going to complain about it too much. Really, that's the only gripe, that and the hips. Otherwise, it's a really great figure. He holds the weapon well. You don't need to worry about the trigger finger not being there, because they didn't put the trigger guard on, so he can hold it just fine. And I'm perfectly happy with that. I do recommend this figure. Like I said, the only issue is that it's in a 5-pack, so that's going to be a problem for some people. And it's only 60 bucks at Amazon, so it won't be too bad, but it's not the best situation. So whether you get it or not, that's going to be up to you based on your situation, but I do recommend it. It is a good figure. And I thank you guys for watching, so stay tuned for some more figure reviews. I have a bunch of stuff coming in soon, and I actually finally have a bunch of customs that are really close to getting done, so stay tuned for all that good stuff too. And in the meantime, keep collecting.